you've got quite a long history in a weird way with this project. You sort of think you initially read the script and then sort of passed on it for a few reasons. What was it that eventually made you get back involved, and what was it about Simon that really hooked you in?
So what happened was I got the script sent to me. I actually read for another movie that the producers were making that I wasn't right for. But I really hit it off with like the director, and we kind of swapped information, and the director messaged me and was like, "Hey, can I send you," he's like, "I know this is weird, but can I send you another script? I'm not making it. These guys are making it." And it was Dinner in America. And I actually just never read it. I read the first couple pages, but I was in the middle of filming a TV show, and my babies were babies, and I just like never got back to it. It was just like chaos. And then a couple years later, I was making this movie that me and the DP really hit it off. And he was like, I was supposed to make this movie called Dinner in America, but it fell through. You would be perfect, for this character, Simon. And it just sounded really familiar. And I typed into my email, Dinner in America, and I actually still had the original email with the script in it from like years before. And so I read the script that night, and I couldn't believe, like, I couldn't believe that I hadn't read it before, because it was just so good. It's so out there and weird and crazy, and like these characters are so like wonderfully strange, but also like extremely human, and the relationship between Simon and Patty is really special and kind of really unique, and it just had so many things that I loved. I feel like the world it created was really kind of raw and very, very real, and of course it still lives in this heightened reality, kind of lives up here, but I asked if the director, Adam, would still be willing to meet me. And luckily, 3 years later, he still was. And we Skyped for like 2 or 3 hours. And at the end, thankfully, he still wanted me to be in the film. And so, yeah, it was kind of a long journey from when I first got it to finally, jumping into, I guess, Simon's combat boots. But I don't know, there was just so many things to love about it. And it was a unique challenge for me in terms of playing somebody like Simon. I've never played somebody like that. And that was, something that really attracted me to the movie. I always like kind of being a little afraid of something, and I don't know, there's just, I had a stream of thought, and it's tapering off now, but there was just so much to love about the script that, it was one of those, like, it was less of like, how can I say no, and more, please let me be a part of this,
Yes, I mean, he is a very different character. Obviously early on in your career, you played a lot of teenagers, a lot of shy, artistic, sort of, the stranger people, more timid.
Right.
But Simon is, he's aggressive, he's assertive, he knows what he wants. How was it to sort of swish around and get into that mindset for once?
It was fun. I mean, it's fun. Weirdly, like with everything that I played as a kid when I was younger, like you said, it's like a lot of it was like kind of the outlier loner, whatever. I have a body count through the roof. Like from I was always doing crazy stuff. But like, strangely, there's a part of Simon that is as foreign to me as he is. There's also a part of Simon that's probably closer to who I am than a lot of these people. I grew up loving punk and hardcore music. I was, we were breaking into places to skateboard and stealing alcohol from people's garages. You know what I mean? It was like there was there's a part of me that truly understands that guy. But also at the same time, you know, having the permission to just be like that for a couple weeks and just put that on and put that skin on and walk around like that, and, you know, have the shaved head and the clothes and really climb into those shoes again, as I said. But it's like to be able to just feel that and walk around like that, it's kind of empowering in a way. You know, it's super unapologetic. It's really just, I'm gonna be, you know, at the end of the day, it's Simon's gonna be himself no matter what. No one's gonna make Simon be anything but himself. And there's something powerful about that, because I feel like a lot of times, you know, people try to change who you are, or people feel uncomfortable being who they are, so they change to please other people, you know. And to be able to be somebody who's literally like, no, go get fucked if you don't like it, you know, it's cool. And I think it's kind of a lesson it's a lesson a lot of people could learn from. I think it's something people need in their lives. You know, I think everybody, not everybody, but I think we live in a society where people just like are so influenced by like what they see online, or so influenced by other people's lives, and, you know, or the versions of other people's lives. And, you know, here you have these two people, Simon and Patty, who literally are like, we're not going to change for anybody. And if you don't like that, that's fine. And I don't know, it's a nice feeling to kind of just be so set in your own skin.
And I mean, Simon does have, you know, he's quite mean to some of his castmates, you know, or the other characters, you know. I mean, poor Emily, you know, she goes through the ringer, you know. I mean, I'm guessing that, you know, you guys sort of had to, you know, take some time aside before you started filming, so that you had that trust, so that, you know, you could just say the stuff in the script without, you know, any feelings being hurt.
Yeah. I mean, Simon's a button pusher, you know what I mean? And part of that is, I think he tests people's threshold, or he, you know, I think with Patty as well, like, I don't think he fully understands Patty. And I think a lot of what he does isn't working on Patty. So he pushes it a little further and a little further, trying to get a rise out of person who just doesn't give it to him. And I think for the first time that piques his interest in a way of like, you're some weird, I don't know what you are, but there's something about you. But yeah, the smartest thing Adam did was he brought us out, I think it was like 2 weeks early. And we're basically just thrown straight into the fire of like, I think it was like we got there, and then the next day Adam brought me to a recording studio with the band Disco Assault, who did all the music, and they laid down scratch tracks and we did like all the music. And then, you know, Emily, me, and Adam sat down, and I just kind of sat back and watched as they created the watermelon song, you know. And then we all just hung out and talked and became really close. So by the time, you're absolutely right, by the time we shot, we had formed this, you know, safety net, this bond basically, that really me and Emily's trust in Adam was, you know, through the roof. And our trust in each other allowed us to push these characters as far as they needed to go. You know, like if we wanted to try something, we weren't scared. I knew Emily would be there, you know, to have my back and to bounce off of me. Or if I was going to fall flat on my face, she was going to catch me and, you know, pick me back up, and, you know, and vice versa. Like my ability to play Simon and be Simon the way that he was because of Emily going as far as she went with Patty. You know, it was a totally symbiotic kind of thing. And it was a really incredible working experience because of that. That doesn't happen all the time, you know, especially with something like this, where it's like, you have to push it as far as it can go, or it doesn't work. You know, if there's anything where you're holding back in these characters, it doesn't work.
And I mean, that follows through into the supporting cast as well. You know, you've got, You've got Leah Thompson doing something that, you know, we wouldn't normally see from her. You know, you've
Right.
got Pat Healy being Pat Healy. You know, you've
Yeah.
got Mary Lynn. You know, it must
Right.
be really nice as an actor to know that everyone is giving it like 100 and 150%.
And they were, and everybody came to play. Everybody came to play. That was the thing. It was like everybody was so game to live in this world, which is such a kind of wild space that Adam created, but everybody was so game. And it's not even just, I mean, there was something like for an indie film, I mean, we had something like 80 speaking roles or something. I mean, it was like, it's crazy the amount of people that are in this movie, and a lot of local Detroit people who like came to play and kicked ass. I mean, everybody really was just down, which is great. You know, they really helped bring the world alive. They let Simon and Patty play.
I mean, I kind of feel like also there's a little bit of a frustrated musician that lives within all of us. Was this your opportunity to, you know, let him out for a bit?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. You know, I think there's that part of me that always wanted to be in a punk band as a kid growing up and yell into a microphone and do all that. Like getting to be in a recording studio and recording those songs with a real band was like a dream. Like, you know, teenage Kyle was like getting to live his rock and roll fantasy.
Is it right that you did do a bit of a brief performance with the band?
Oh yeah. So Disco Assault played. There's this there's this punk venue in Detroit. Like originally it got shut down, and so they moved it, and then it was to this like old abandoned bank. And they basically used to do just like generator shows where like all they had was a little generator that they would plug in, and they've since, I don't think they have to use the generator anymore, but it's definitely like this like super scrappy, cool little punk venue. And Disco Assault played, and they brought me up to do a song with them, which was really fun.
Just sort of stepping away from Dinner in America, you know, last year audiences also saw you return to the demonic possession genre with the Cleansing Hour. You know, what was it?
That's actually the movie. That's actually the movie the DP was shooting. The reason I did Dinner in America was because I did the Cleansing Hour. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great film. It's offers like a new spin on, you know, on demonic possession. You know, there's a whole live streaming exorcism. I mean, I'm guessing as an actor that's quite challenging, because obviously I'm guessing there was long takes involved for that to, you know, to give the appearance of it being one continuous stream.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. It was like making a play. You know, it was like we got to shoot it pretty in order, and you walk into this sound stage and it's like, here's your space, this is your world, you know. And it was, I mean, some of those takes were like long. I mean, some of those like end, like when she's choking and I'm freaking out because I can't get to her, and like that whole, I mean, we shot that thing, it was like a 6-minute take of just like running the whole thing. I mean, it was like nothing. It was a shooting experience like I'd never really done before. Like I said, it was almost like, it was kind of like doing a play in a way.
And I mean, I think there's some quite physical moments, but am I right in thinking that you weren't actually 100% fit when you were making it?
I had just had my appendix out, so I hit a weird streak where, you know, as an actor, it's like feast or famine, right? You're either like never working or, you know, suddenly there's, and I had booked 3 movies that were all relatively back to back. One, I did this movie, The Catch, and then I was going to roll right into the Cleansing Hour, and then I was going to have like a month and a half between the Cleansing Hour and Dinner in America. So I came home from The Catch. I had, I think, 2.5 weeks or something like that before I had to leave for Romania to do the Cleansing Hour. And like 2 or 3 days after I'm home from The Catch, my stomach just starts hurting. In the middle of the night, I'm like, oh man, I don't feel good. And by the time about like 4 a.m. rolled around, I really realized something was wrong. And I wake my wife up and I'm like, hey, don't get up, don't wake the kids. I think my appendix is gonna, it's going. I'm gonna drive myself to the hospital. I'll call you when I get there. And sure enough, that's what it was. And so I had my appendix out, and man, I don't even think it was 2 weeks. I don't even think I had 2 weeks. So I called Damien, and I was like, Damien's the director. And I was like, look, man, I want to do your movie. My appendix, I just had it taken out, and I don't even know if I'm going to be cleared to travel.
Mm.
And I was like, if you need to recast, like, you got to do it now, because, you know, I don't know. And they were super cool, and they didn't. They were like, well, we'll see if hopefully you can make it. And the doctor approved me to travel the day before I was supposed to leave. And so I still had bandages. I was like all scarred up and beat to shit making most of the movie. I was basically healing like as the movie went on. So luckily by the time most of the physical stuff happened towards the end of the shoot, I was sore, but I was like pretty okay. And they took really good care of me, and they were really, we were really pretty careful and stuff. But yeah, I was not 100% when I made that one.
I sort of bring it up because my husband recently had a hernia operation, and I remember how like terrible he was. Like, not being.
That's the other thing too. They fixed a hernia at the same time. Right. So I had a hernia and my appendix. They were like, oh yeah, by the way, you have a hernia. We'll just fix that while we're in there. And I'm like, okay.
But I remember how his recovery was. So the fact that, you were on, I mean, he could barely like walk downstairs, let alone, go on set and, do anything. So
yeah, luckily I had gotten through the first initial, like where you sit up and it hurt, you know what I mean? Like I had cleared that phase. Like if I moved certain ways, it would still like pull or hurt a bit. But I was sitting down a lot in the beginning of the film, so that that kind of helped buffer things a little bit. Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, it's commendable. Like I say, my husband didn't leave the bed for like 6 weeks. So
sometimes you just don't have a choice. You know what I mean? There's a job to be done.
And I have to just very, very briefly sort of mention your time on Smallville. Yeah, obviously, Bart Allen is, he's got a new lease on life recently.
I know, crazy.
Got to be exciting. But I just have to, I love the running scene with you and Tom Welling. That just seems like so much fun. You're both there running in slow motion, just doing each other lovingly. Was your time on that, a fun one?
Yes, that was a really great experience. That was like my first real job, or not real job, but like job where it was like a kind of a big get, you know what I mean? Like it was like a lot of people read for that. And I actually think originally it was supposed to be somebody like as big as Tom, like they wanted like I don't know, but I hadn't done much, so like I didn't totally understand like how to move for camera, how things worked, and I was still young, and they really, really took me under their wing. Like they really took care of me, the camera crew, the crew, everybody like would show me stuff and work with me, and it was just a really good environment to play in, as a young actor. And Tom was really nice to me, and everybody was really great. And I loved my time on that show. Actually, it was really a special time. It was pretty funny. They well, there's two things. That running scene was like on a crane, and I had to turn around and run backwards on a treadmill. And at one point I tripped, and literally this like camera on a fucking crane, just the guy lifted it like inches from my face. Like I almost broke my entire face. And then the other day they made these little Funko Pop dolls, like those bobblehead big doll things of me as the Flash. And I have one, and I brought it home and I showed my oldest, and he was like, "What? Wait a minute, you're like halfway famous." I was like, "Thanks, bud."
Nice. Finally, yeah, made it in his eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. Well, halfway. I've halfway made it. Nothing like your kids to bring you back down to reality, right?
Yeah.
But but yeah, it was cool. It was a really nice time.
I mean, I know obviously you can't share any details about your character or the plot or anything, but I think I'm right in saying that we're a similar age. So we grew up with Scream being our big horror
Yeah,
franchise.
yeah.
You know, you're now a part of that world. What was the experience like of working on that? And you guys also filmed, during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was interesting. Filming during the pandemic was, especially like in the heart of it, like that. I mean, it was really, um, it was interesting. This, super serious safety protocols, and, testing every like 48 hours and always in masks, like really keeping everybody safe. But making it was a lot of fun. And, and I'm very much, I don't have a problem saying I don't think something's great when I'm in it, or like, or like not, or being like, yeah, it's fine. I genuinely think this is going to be really good. Like, I really do think there's a lot in it that will please, like, if you grew up loving the first Scream movie, there's so much in this to love that will really kind of recapture that. I really do think I really do think it's going to be something that'll really please fans of the original franchise. And, I think it'll usher in a whole new generation of people who will, make them either revisit the original franchise or, fall in love with what this is. I mean, it's got the legacy cast in it. It's got a lot of really, cool young actors in it. Matt and Tyler are really talented directors as well. I'm excited to see it. I can only speak from my experience on set. So, but from having made it, like, there's some movies I've made where I'm like, yes, I'll see it one day, maybe, I guess. But this, I'm actually really excited to see. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
That's very good to hear. I guess finally, sort of looping back to Dinner in America. It's coming on Arrow Player in the UK very soon. What are audiences going to get when they sit down to pick it? I mean, Arrow audiences are quite sophisticated, and they kind of get an idea. But what are they going to sit down and experience?
I hope they're just along for the ride. I hope they can really sit back, appreciate the journey, appreciate these characters. Really, maybe take away from it that it's like, don't just judge people, treat people with respect. Everybody's got value. Everybody deserves a chance, but you get to also go on this kind of crazy, super heightened, wacky journey with these like underdogs. This is definitely a movie that I think everybody can enjoy, but at the same time, this really is like a movie for the underdogs. Like, it's one of those where it's like, if you've ever felt less than, if you've ever felt different, been called weird, been called whatever, like, I mean, this is definitely a movie for those people. It's like there's way more of us weirdos than there are. You know what I mean? Like, and there's some serious representation in that in this film, I think. And I think it's cool. You see the people who don't usually win, which I think is nice.
Well, I loved it, and I can't wait for everyone that I know to sit down and watch it. So thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.